Tanya.
Simon, Matt, and Sister Holly, Susie, Katie. I've been listening to Confessions for years now, both on The Other Place and Greatest Hits Radio. Thought I really ought to write mine down and send it in because it's weighed heavily on me for many years. The year is 1972. I was 12. And to put it mildly, I was a naughty schoolgirl, always in trouble and getting punished on a weekly basis. You're about to find out why. The school was an all-girls school, all-female teachers and an imposing, statuesque deputy head called Miss Habsburg, who was terrifying. Now, being as I was very naughty, I was far from her favourite. Now, the tuck shop goodies, you should know, were delivered every week and left in the vestibule for some time before someone came along, took all the boxes of snacks to be stored away, ready for the tuck shop openings. Well, this one day, I'd been sent out of class for being rude. What a little monster I was. And I happened across this vast hall of boxes of delicious snacks. No one was about. Everyone was in class. I was completely alone with my naughty thoughts. Now, among those boxes of goodies were a few big boxes of cheese snips. Now, I liked them very much, so I thought to myself, they won't miss one box, because there were quite a few boxes. So I very quickly picked up one of the boxes and scurried away to the girls' toilets, thinking I'd have a couple of packets and then I'd be allowed back into class. What I hadn't realised, of course, in the box, that there were 200 packets of the aforementioned cheese snips. So after scoffing 4 packets, I was left with so many other packets, 196 to be precise. I'm not a complete idiot. I had listened in maths. I didn't know what I was going to do with the remaining 196. When you're 12, you don't really think these things through. I heard the lesson bell had gone and I could hear lots of girls and teaching staff filing past the toilet door as it was now break time. I waited until it was quiet, left the toilet with my ill-gotten gains in my arms, covered over with my school jumper, hoping I wouldn't run into anyone. So that's a box of cheese snacks under your jumper.
190, right, okay.
I ran into my form room and put a chair in front of the door and sat and thought to myself, what am I going to do with all these bags of bloomin' cheese snips? I couldn't put the box back as it had been opened with 4 packets taken and eaten. Thinking quickly and coming up with a great idea, I opened the box and put some packets of cheese snips into every desk in the room except mine. Genius, I thought. I then carefully folded the now empty cardboard box and slid it under the form teacher's desk. I then calmly sat at my cheese snip-less desk, moved the chair and waited for all my form to come back. Well, the next class started in 10 minutes. In the door opened and in walked the formidable Miss Habsburg, who very shrilly in her slightly strange voice said, Tanya Greenacres, stand up. Oh dear, that didn't take very long. So I stood up. Did you take a box of snacks from the tuck shop delivery? Why'd you always think it was me, Miss Habsburg? I've been sent out of class. I haven't been to the tuck shop. She then asked me to open my desk, which of course was empty of any cheese-flavoured contraband. Her face was a picture when she saw that my desk was indeed empty. I said, aren't you going to look into anyone else's desk or just mine? That's not fair. That's against my human rights. With that, the other pupils had to open their desks and the lovely red and yellow packets of cheese snips were exposed. Of course, all my classmates were surprised and began saying they didn't understand how these packets had got into their desks. A likely story. The lovely Miss Habsburg then asked all the pupils to stand up and she asked them who had taken the box of snips. None of them replied, but a few of them sent me looks because they knew what I'd done, because I had a very nasty reputation. But they were frightened to say anything. All pupils in the class were then presented with a folded-up cardboard box and asked again who had done it. All pupils, apart from me, were then frog-marched to stand outside the head's office along a long corridor. They then had to stand there until someone owned up. They were there for 3 hours in silence. I went to the toilet and observed them. I was smirking to myself, thinking I was so clever. What a horrible person I was. Home time came and they were allowed to leave the corridor and no one had owned up, so they were given 4 weeks of detentions.
4 weeks?
Every day after school. Some of them were in tears as they knew they'd be in trouble with their parents as a full report was being sent home. I never owned up, Simon, so today I'm seeking forgiveness from you, Matt, though I doubt he'll forgive this one. And the collective for the humiliation that I caused my classmates all those years ago. I think back now and I think what a horrid thing to do, surely unforgivable, but I do feel better having offloaded like this. Very good punctuation. Yes. I've never spoken about it in 50 years, so you're the first people I've actually told.
Oh, right.
Beautifully mixed.
I thought so.
A very penitent Tanya. Does she get the forgiveness of the responsible voice of production from Sister Holly, Susie, Katie?
The main main problem with this is the poor classmates that received the punishment of waiting outside the corridor for 3 hours
And
in
then the detention.
silence, and then 4 weeks of detention for something they didn't do. I think that's bad. I think that's bad, Tanya. When it first started and you stole a couple bits of the cheese snips, I thought, okay, well, it's the kind of thing that I might have done, frankly, when I was 12. But it was the fact you didn't own up. That was the problem for me, and that's why I'm not going to forgive you.
A brother from another gutter.
But will no one consider the role of the school in this misdemeanor? And I think we can all look at why are they still doing this? You're all staying here until someone owns up. That never happens.
Works.
It never works. Why do you persist with this ridiculous system? And also, they had most of the cheese biscuits left, didn't they? Most of them were still there. They just have to put them back in the box. Why are they all getting detention for 4 weeks? 4 weeks! And they're having to stand there for 3 hours. Bit drastic and draconian, I'm going to say, from Mrs. Hasberg and the rest of them. And her. And the rest of them, all in a handcart. I'm saying definitely forgiven.
Okay, so the people's verdict, please.